Hey everybody, on today's episode, we're sitting down with Nitzan, the owner of & Co Studio, one of my favorite design studios in Israel, to dive deep into an amazing project. You'll see us talk about branding, website design, app design, how the whole project was managed. It's going to be super, super interesting. Stay tuned. Hi Nitzan, thank you so much for having us in your awesome studio.
Thanks for coming.
Let's dive into, because we have a lot of things to talk about. Tell us a little bit about the client, who they are, what they're doing, so we have a little bit of context to understand.
They deal with out of fleet. They deal with fleet. Car fleets, yeah. And they try to meet the demand and that all the hailing application has, and all the fleets, the large fleets of the renting cars or large fleets, and they try to automate all this ecosystem together. Okay. So eventually they had a control center and a mobile app that is supposed to be for the driver, to tell him what to do and where to go and what kind of tasks he needs to do. And that's it. They came for us to do a logo and branding and a website, and later on we developed the app, the mobile app, and the control center and marketing efforts for conferences and presentations. It's a long relationship. We always have a relationship with our clients. It doesn't end up with a single project.
Got it. Okay, so how did you kick off the project? What is the first thing that you do when a new client comes in?
Okay, so it's quite different because we sometimes work with corporates. We sometimes work with different stages of startups or companies. And sometimes it's entrepreneurs. So the scale of the project and how deep we go is determined by the money, the time, and many things.
Okay, got it.
And here in this specific project, we didn't do strategy. Okay. We did the branding and the logo straight away.
Okay. So based on what? How do you know what they want?
So we based what we usually do in a strategy process. We based our decisions and the branding process on what they say. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, you come to me and tell, I want to be a luxurious brand and I want to be like, so we take this as assumption. This is a quick process and it has its goods and bads.
But practical, okay, so if you don't do a strategy session, how do you know what the design brief is initially, in this case?
So we have this questionnaire, we have a kickoff meeting. Okay, we have meetings with the client that we try to get information about what they are and which ecosystem they are. There's a whole world we need to get to know in the specific client that comes, and to know his competitors and to know where he's at.
So in this case, can you show us where they were, what were the problems, and how do you decide to approach this?
So regarding the logo, they came to us saying that they have this logo that we see here.
Yeah.
And I think they did it on Fiverr or they did it on their own.
Okay.
And they say we feel quite good with this logo. Okay. And maybe you want to tweak it or change it, but we think it's a nice idea.
Okay.
So we had to convince them or present to them a short phase of maybe trying different approaches to the logo.
When you look at it, why did you think this? Like, what do you thought you can do better, or what did you thought was not working with this logo specifically?
Well, the font is quite strict.
Can we zoom in? Let's see if we can zoom in. Okay. Yep.
The font is quite strict. The shape looks a bit generic. Put in the AF and the logo doesn't seem like it's meant to be. It seems like two solutions, one on top of the other.
Yeah, I understand.
The color is generic. I don't see that it transmits innovation or anything that they decided to.
Okay, so they were open to redoing it or rethinking.
Yeah, so that's why the process of this project was quite short, because we knew more or less the direction. Okay.
In terms of what? In terms of keeping the cloud, or?
Yeah, we had this idea of a cloud. Okay, it really deals with their solution, because it's like they're taking cars and they use them in different situations. Instead of having a car for I don't know, Avis, for example, sitting in a lot, so they can use it while it's not used for ride hailing.
Okay, so
it's kind of having the metaphor of the cloud is in their solution.
So I think if I kind of try to analyze what they were going for, they had like a fast cloud, or the cloud is driving like a car. That was like the idea. Okay, so can you show us what you did with it?
So we had we presented them several approaches. First approaches to see their comments. So this was one of the directions, cloud movement and with the blue color, and this was another. It's really quick sketches just to see where we're heading, and then we had this direction, which also had close variation. We took the cloud with the shape of the infinity, and they try to take resources of cars and drivers and keep them in the same ecosystem and use them efficiently.
Keep them moving.
The infinity was made sense for us, and also we saw it as a road.
Yeah,
okay,
kind of looks like a highway.
These three things are the basic idea for the final logo. The road, the infinity, and the cloud.
Got it.
So this was the first approach. And
so what did they say when you showed it?
They liked the last version. Okay. And then we tried to fine-tune the decision. Okay. We checked how many lines we want there, what are the gaps between the lines, how many the amount of ink we want here. We checked. We presented like 8 variations in positive and negative to decide which is the best. And actually, they chose this one or something close to that.
Yeah.
And at this phase, we presented general directions for color.
Yeah.
Okay. We usually do, maybe it's something, we try to, when you concentrate on a phase, we try to touch the next phase.
Okay.
All the time. Okay, we talk about the logo, we try to touch generally in the color, the next phase.
Got it.
This way we have some kind of a overlap in between the stages.
Okay, that's interesting.
And when we get to the color, we know where we're at.
Okay, but aren't you not afraid that it might influence, like because they hate this specific color, they will say, I don't like the logo?
Yeah, that's why I give different variations.
Okay,
and we try to explain it, and of course we always do that in a conversation. If it's a meeting, physical meeting or a video conference, we don't send things by mail.
Okay, got it.
Because the first impression is really important. We need to explain them. Yeah, you have to understand, we enter the client to a creative process.
Yeah.
And not every human being is meant to be in that process. It's a tough process. We all know that.
Yeah.
So we lead them to.
All right. So you show them the logo.
So we have
with different variations of color.
The shape that they chose.
Got it.
Each one is different, totally different, in order to get the response, and it's a discussion. It's not
So you
always
don't-
what you think. It's a discussion of us and them
You
together.
don't come in with a suggestion like, I think the blue is best, but here are some more options. Do you come with a recommendation, or like, here's a bunch of options, let's discuss? I'm
No,
not.
I usually try to present the options quite objective.
Okay.
And then maybe I tell my opinion. Sometimes
got
I tell them to say what they think, and then I put my opinion so it don't influence what they really think.
Okay.
So
So what was
eventually,
the reaction on the colors, or?
so the colors, yeah, we had a discussion, but we went about this blue, cyan, green gradient.
So actually, if
More
I
or less.
understand correctly, since they choose the color, or you do it in kind of a discussion, you don't have to really sell it to them. You don't have to come in and explain, oh, I picked this color because it looks like whatever, the sky, or...
We do. While we present it, it happened a lot, not recently, so I don't remember, but we might present, okay, this is a blue, this is a more conservative color pick.
Got
it. It transmits innovation, but not in a hard way. This one is more unique, more...
Got
we
it.
explained
Okay.
it.
You did give a rationale for each color.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's not random. So we give our explanation. Sometimes we also write it
Yeah.
in the presentation, the explanation of the direction, if it's a logo or color scheme. And then we had to convince them that we must change their decision. Okay.
Okay,
No,
so they
I won't
picked
say
that,
must, but we
Okay.
recommend to change because we felt that this logo is not tight enough, and in different scales of size, it won't look same.
Okay.
So we recommended the number 8,
Okay.
which is much more firm and strict and clear and bold. And so we did some fine tuning for the color to see how it looks in a big area, and how it looks inside the logo, to see the contrast between the background. And this was the original, and then we tested 5 more variations, very micro variations of the color. And we had this dot thing, and we had a sort of playground around the shape, okay, with the dot, without the dot, where's the dot at. Then we decided to lose the dot, but eventually we had we can see maybe in the case study the result. Okay.
Yeah.
And you see the quick flow of the variations that we had here, with the shape and then the color.
Wait. So you finish the logo, you come to an agreement. What's next? Like, what is the next step in the process now that the logo is done?
So then we had
we'll go on over the case study later.
So
'cause I think
we went to what they had in urgent is the presentation.
Okay.
So after that, we actually designed the presentation.
Yeah.
So we got this presentation as a content, as a content that this is the presentation they used until this phase, and yeah.
Okay.
So we had to turn this content to this one. Maybe I'll open it here. So this is the time that we try to deal with the language. Okay, we had a color palette, we had a logo, we had things in mind, but we didn't implement them. So we used a lot of white and this gray, black as a text. We had in mind this idea of how the brand should look, but we first implemented it in the presentation.
Got it. I think actually a presentation is a good way to implement, because you deal with a lot of things, you know, like illustrations, images. It gives you a lot of different things to play with.
Yeah, it is a complex product, to design because you have a lot of message and things that you need to consider.
So the presentation was the second part of the project.
And then we went for the website.
Okay.
And on the website, what we did...
what about all these brand products that you have here?
Yeah, we had along the way some products that we did afterwards. Okay. If it's a A4 document and some materials.
So those are things that you do for fun, or they actually commission this for you? We need a t-shirt, we need a card design. Because I know I personally do that for fun, just to convey how the brand would work in a presentation, but you told me that you work differently a little bit.
Yeah, we work differently because we didn't have this presentation that explains the brand and try to convince them. We did the process with them.
Okay.
So we decided about the logo together, we decided about the colors together, and then we needed to approach the language. The presentation doesn't have a lot of visual challenges. As a content challenges, but the website does.
Okay.
Okay. And the website, that's why we dealt with the header of the website first.
So when you start, you tackle the hero section of the homepage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it has a lot of brand presence.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of feeling. Usually,
yeah, personality.
And it's like the crown of the website.
Yeah, the vibe, the main vibe.
So here there's a paper sketch of the 3 concepts we had in mind for what's the story we're gonna tell.
Did you show them this?
Yeah,
okay.
We might. We talked about it. It was really primer. We mainly explained it because it's not that the sketches tells a lot of things, but it's this explanation that
you can understand the concepts here. I mean,
yeah, we knew that we want to deal with the cloud in the story here as well.
Okay.
And then
so you made a decision together with them about how to handle this.
What's the story that we're talking about?
Yeah, okay.
And you see here really, really rough sketches. Okay. Of this is how it began. Okay, we knew we had the clouds and maybe we want to have the car. This was an idea of a road that flows all the way in all the grid of the website.
Question. Sorry that I cut you off. You sometimes, I don't know, personally when I work on website, I start with kind of a wireframing of the website. Do you not do that, or you just first
here we dealt only with the header.
Got it. But for the rest of the website, you do wireframes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here it's only the website. We knew that we didn't know what's going on afterwards. We mainly wanted to create the visual of the right side of the main page.
Got it. Okay.
So this is really rough. Before we entered an Illustrator, okay, the designer did it. So he just put a car and just even the boxes. You see, there's boxes because it doesn't matter. The illustration. We want a red spot.
In terms of process within your studio, so you have a designer, and then you know that if you'll need an illustrator, you outsource this, you hire somebody else.
No, we have an illustrator inside the team.
He will only work on the concept that is approved.
Yeah, the designer thinks about the idea and what needs to be illustrated, and he might also collect references. And he knows what he wants to illustrate. When it comes to a level that you need a professional illustrator and it's not a simple icon,
got it.
We might decide to move it to an illustrator.
Okay, so you really roughly explored a lot of ideas.
Yeah, so we dealt with the layout and color and all the general of this canvas, and we had this thing that we thought maybe there's a car that comes in and like transmitted to the cloud, or maybe it's different cloud with depth. Then we put cars to see the red spot of it. And maybe it looked a bit childish, the shape of the cloud. And it's all sketches from the process. And then we have the more finalized car that we illustrated. and we wanted this overlap thing.
This is already done by an illustrator, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, this is an illustrator.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
And we continue to fine tune the illustration. Then they requested this title that each card that transmitted has a different use.
Got it. Do you plan on this to be animated?
Yeah.
If so, at what stage do you think about the animation?
We knew we wanted the animation. We knew from the client they demanded that the website will have animations in it.
Okay.
And we knew when we thought about this scenario that it's going to be animated.
Okay. Do you tell them when you show them the sketches, this is how this will be animated?
Yeah, we sometimes use references.
Okay.
Sometimes we just tell them the car will enter and then go up.
Got it. Okay, so you got to the last point
where
we
can see the result now. So this is the animation. So the car is transmitted, and then comes the next car.
Yeah, and each of them has a different title to it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, this is a technical thing they wanted to.
Nice. All right, sweet. Okay, so you finished the header, you get it approved. Mm-hmm. How do you proceed?
So we knew the language, we knew more, okay? Through the process, we create the language.
Got it.
And then we got the content, okay, from the client, which was quite organized, okay?
Yeah.
The fold, the text, everything. So
usually you get all the texts, ready. Yeah, this looks pretty organized.
Yeah, it's pretty organized, but it's not always like that.
Okay, got it.
Sometimes it's really.
Did you thought about kind of an architecture for the website? At what point did you think, what pages do we need in the website? What kind of content do we need?
So as you saw, the content was quite organized.
Okay, so they knew we need page 1, 2, 3. They were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We put our mind into that, but it was quite organized.
Okay.
So you see here the canvas of the website, and you see the main screen that we created before. Then we continue to the next folds. The solution, how it works.
So at this point, you design straight away. You don't. Again, do wireframes or some middle stage in terms of how the content will be laid out? Or?
No, actually, here it was a really quick process, so we might do it. We didn't confirm it. We just did a wireframe. In the process, we said, okay, we have a strip here, we have a strip here of how it works, and then we designed on it. We didn't have a phase of wireframes and approve it with the clients. Usually, we do have this phase.
Okay.
I must say. So we designed the main page and the other pages, which were not that much, but later on we added more pages to the website, and still we had some animations.
How long was the initial? Like, how long did it take to do the branding and then do the website?
It was quite several weeks. Wasn't that much.
So pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so when you finish that, what happens? Do you also do the development in-house? Do you outsource this?
In that case, we sometimes do that on WordPress with the programmer. Sometimes the client has its own programmers. Here, in that case, we use the Wix, and they also wanted to use Wix.
They've asked you to use Wix specifically?
Yeah, they wanted an easy website to control themselves.
Okay.
At that point, they were only the entrepreneurs, so they wanted something quick, and they didn't want to get into programming or something that developed.
And you didn't feel limited by what Wix can do. You were able to implement everything that you
Yeah, of course there are limitations. I think everywhere you have limitations, you know how to bypass them.
Okay, got
and it.
But did you know this is going to be a Wix website when you were designing? Did it inform some of the decisions, or you designed whatever you want and you made sure you can implement?
We design what we want, and then the first design is limitless, okay? And then you think maybe how you implement it, and sometimes you change the design, and sometimes you put more effort in the implementation to hack it, if it's Wix code or any other hacks that we do.
Wix can be extended with code. I didn't know.
Yeah. We use it here for special forms and things, and so. Sometimes the design is compromising. Sometimes we put more effort.
Got it.
In the Wix code, or sometimes you need to hack it.
Got it.
In a certain way, and we also had here animations inside, and more illustration, more mockups and things.
Can you show us now the real website? See how it looks. So this is the website.
Yeah. So, and this is a section they entered afterwards, and this is small animations we had inside.
Are those animated GIF, SVGs, or?
Yeah, it's animated GIF.
GIFs, all right.
And how it works, and this is a section a whole page we added afterwards, the simulator, and this is the news, and again, I guess everyone knows that when a client's, real life, the client puts images and they're not cropped or smashed or, things happen.
Got it. Okay.
And then,
that's
you
cool.
have more pages and animations, and we added the simulator page with full animation here at the header.
You do the animation in-house?
Yeah.
With After Effects and,
After Effects, sometimes cinema.
3D,
and here we add a lot of animation in this page to simulate the process of this specific simulator. And it works really nice.
Nice. All right, so the website obviously was a big part, and then what about the apps themselves? How do you approach that?
So we also have the driver app, which this is some of the outboards, and we can maybe see it in the website, in the case study. So this is the mobile app, this is the driver app that instruct the driver what to do. So the wireframes is a stage that we think about also the things that the app needs to do, and we do a whole wireframe process of planning, and at the end we
so those were, can I go back into the images just to see? So this is how the wireframes look like initially.
Yeah. And you can see it's quite designed.
And you share this with them on something like InVision to get comments. Yeah. And then you move into like prettifying it, making it like nice, like the UI.
We deal with the UX. Usually the main screen. We give concepts for the main screen, how the app is gonna build and divided, and then we fine-tune to more.
Do you do some
screen.
kind of high-level, whatever flow or something like that, or?
Yeah, it really depends. Here also it was a fast process, but we created a prototype, and then we talked about it and refined it. And
at the end deliverable is the InVision, like their developers are working off the InVision? Or like,
no,
how do you hand this off?
Since then we started working with XD, but
with XD, so the handoff is with XD.
No, with Zeppelin.
Oh, with Zeppelin. Okay, got it.
So with XD, we use the prototype tool of XD, and we don't need the InVision tool.
Okay.
But back then we did it in Illustrator, and you see that there's except for the places for the illustration or icons, it looks like a grade application.
Yeah. So wait, you said you were working in Illustrator. Now you moved to XD.
Yeah.
And you still use Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So, and that was the last thing that you did? The app was the last part of the project? Or was it done together with the website? How did that work?
It was the driver app, and you can see the mobile screen at the end. Okay. Mm-hmm. Pretty much similar to the UX. But we had this illustration for the onboarding and the places that we...
Do you give them some kind of a style guide or something like that for them to work on later on?
Yeah, on the Zeppelin we open like a board of style guide, and then they can see all the rules of the buttons and the ingredients. And we had the control center, which was a complex, much more complex system. And yeah, we did the control center in around 10 days. It was really, really fast.
So, and you really did the whole product, or it's just like high level screens?
No, we did the whole product, but it's not that complicated product. But we later continued and added more things to the system. Okay. And we also afterwards did some animations to show how it works. And we developed these gauge meters.
This is all of this you do with After Effects, all those?
Yeah, these simulations, yeah.
So tell me a little bit, I want to understand about the structure of how you work. So who's involved in a project like this? Like you said the whole project was few weeks? This whole thing, branding, website, apps, few weeks?
Yeah, you had a mobile app and a control center, website.
So how many people are working on it?
So it's not a few weeks, maybe it adds up to 2 or 3 months.
2 or 3 months, okay.
In total, but it's several things.
Okay, and who is working on it? So you mentioned designer, illustrator. Is the illustrator also the motion designer, or is that somebody else?
No, in this project we had the illustrator and an animator. We had several designers.
Okay.
We had one that started the branding, and usually it's one designer that does the branding because it's creating the essence. And then when it comes to UX and control center, you can split it to different people. But it comes to a point that you can overlap processes and divide it between people.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, we need to keep it on one person.
Okay, so awesome. So let's talk about the case study, because you took this whole project, which is amazing work. You've encapsulated on your website in a really, really nice, scroll to the top so we can see it off the top. Really nice case study on your portfolio, showing everything from the logo to the colors. And also you did the video, which we saw at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a little bit about how does that fit? Is that something that you do afterwards? Is that a task? Because that looks like a lot of time to do as well. Yeah. It's like another project to document what you did here. This is like really...
Yeah, it is an effort we do afterwards.
You do that for every project? This kind of a documentation?
Not every project, but a project that has several aspects in it. If it has a branding or something that it justified something to talk about. But it is a project, but I see it as something that really trains the designers here, because this is storytelling, okay?
Yeah.
And you need to know how to tell the story and how to show it in a good way, the work that has been done here. And I think it's really beneficial for clients or to recruit the designers, and also for us to see what we have done. We really want to look at the projects, and sometimes different people here does the projects, and to look at the whole timeline together, it's really nice.
And you also, I mean, you showed me some asset that I think you said, oh, this we did for social media, or so you really create assets for yourself to use this as kind of marketing for yourself.
Yeah. This is in between the client projects, we have sometimes if it's for the animator or for a certain designer. So this time we take advantage for social media to work on our case studies, which is really a lot of work, and also small bites of animations or assets or icon sets that we release to our Dribble, Instagram, and social media. And sometimes the client sees the simulation that we did, and sometimes he want to implement it as we did it.
Yeah.
And it happened to us now with the website that we did a simulation of how we see it, and at the moment in the process we didn't have time to get to the details of the animation. But once he saw our social media, the mock-up that we did.
So sometimes social media is a lie. It's like, this is what we wish it would happen, but we didn't have really time to do it in real life. Yeah, but it pushed the client to actually go ahead and do it.
Yeah, to go and push the little details, the behaviors and everything of the website, that in the process we didn't have the effort or the time to deal with this.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much, Nitzan.
Cool.
This is really a pleasure. Really love your work. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Bye.